If you're constantly overwhelmed, burnt out, exhausted, and you're thinking to yourself, I have a discipline problem. Maybe if I just figure out a way to get more things done, maybe if I become more consistent, maybe if I just get my shit together, I can accomplish more. But what if that is not the problem? Don't mind me, I'm reading through my notes because I don't want to ramble or get off topic. What if that's not the problem? Because if discipline were the problem, you would have fixed this already. Because you are really great and you are really disciplined when it comes to showing up for everybody else. But when it comes to showing up for yourself, all of a sudden, you can't be consistent with that. You go to work when you're exhausted. You remember everybody's appointments, everybody's birthdays. You push through the pain, you push through the exhaustion. You find a way always to get something done, to cross it off your to-do list. You keep your commitments, you meet your deadlines, you're hyper responsible. So it's not that you're not disciplined. That's not the issue. You are very disciplined, but you're disciplined in showing up for everyone else except for you. Because by the time you're done showing up for everyone else, when it's time to show up for yourself, you're tapped out and you're exhausted. You don't have it in you. So in this process, you're probably going through something like telling yourself that you need to do something to finally feel better, like maybe more sleep, maybe you need to eat better, maybe you need to cut out gluten, maybe you need to cut out dairy from your diet, maybe you're trying a new anti-inflammatory trend that's happening now, or maybe it's more yoga, more meditation, more whatever, right? And none of these things are bad, right? But the problem is that you're trying to fix something that wasn't designed to be fixed in that way, if that makes any sense. So let's talk about why you're constantly overriding yourself. You have this, most likely, you have this fear of disappointing people. You don't want to let people down, right? Most likely, you're a people pleaser, you're a perfectionist, you're an overachiever, you're a highly functioning person, you're someone who can multitask and get it done greatly, right? You have a fear of slowing down, you feel guilty when you rest. You suppress your anger and your resentment, so you do things, but then after you do them, you're pissed off. Like, why am I doing this? Why do I have to always show up for this person? Why am I always the one saving the day? So you get angry at yourself for always going back on your word on what you said you weren't going to do. And so you have this suppression of anger and resentment. And maybe you have some beliefs about your worth and your productivity, right? This is very deep in the reason why a lot of us are very burnt out and we're overwhelmed and we're just exhausted all the time. It's not just about energy. It's not just about energy. So it's not about you being more disciplined, because like I said before, you are disciplined. You're disciplined when it comes to showing up for everyone else. You do that on time every time. But when it comes for you, all of a sudden you're making all the excuses as to why you cannot do things for yourself, because you feel guilty of resting, because you should be doing something for someone else instead of doing something for yourself. And the list goes on and on and on. And it's this constant need to be needed, right? But no wonder why you're exhausted and you're burnt out, because you're showing up for everyone else. You're highly disciplined when it comes to that. When it comes to showing up for everyone else, you are on point, you're on time. But you don't need more discipline because you've proven to yourself that you are disciplined. Because you can create the perfect schedule. And every time you find time to rest, you feel guilty. You're like, I should be doing something. You might physically, you might be resting, your body's not moving, but mentally, your brain is on overload on all the things that you need to get done for today, you need to get done for tomorrow, you need to get done for the rest of the week, the quarter, the month, the rest of the year. You're planning the kids' schedules, their trips, their doctor's appointments. You're figuring out what bills need to get paid, and you're keeping this mental budget in your mind of all the things that need to get done. So although you're physically resting, your brain is still on. So you're not truly resting because you don't know how to release control. It feels so scary to you for you to release control that your brain is constantly on. And for some of us, it's our physical bodies and our mental capacity is constantly on. So no wonder we're burnt out. No wonder why we're exhausted. No wonder why we're tapped out and we're dragging. And you can learn every boundary technique there is out there. But if every time it comes for you to enforce a boundary, you feel selfish and you feel bad to the point that you go back on what you said you were going to do, what are we doing? Then what are we doing? You can tell yourself to slow down. You can tell yourself do it tomorrow. But if your entire identity is surrounded by you being the strong one, you being the fixer, you being the problem solver, you being the go-to person, it's almost like you thrive on being chosen. It feels threatening to your body. It feels threatening to your brain, right? Shh, quiet. The dogs are going crazy because somebody passed by that they didn't like. So look, you don't need more information. You need more integration. You need more integration. And these are the missing pieces, right? Self-awareness is the first one. And a lot of us already have self-awareness. A lot of us already know where we are dropping the ball. A lot of us already know that we're overextending ourselves. A lot of us already know that we're doing too much. A lot of us already know that we should be saying no. A lot of us already know these. A lot of us are already hyper self-aware. But I'm going to go through it anyway for those of us who are not there yet. So I want you to recognize, where am I overriding myself? Where in my life am I overriding myself? Where am I saying yes when I mean no? Where am I saying yes when I mean no? Is it with your spouse? Is it with your kids? Is it with your boss? Is it at work? Is it with your employees, your clients, your pets, your friends, your family, your parents? Where am I ignoring my capacity? Where is it that I'm ignoring my capacity? Because as I've mentioned before throughout this live series, our bodies are always speaking to us. They're letting us know what our capacity is through the physical symptoms that we are feeling, through the migraines, through the headaches, through the exhaustion, through the brain fog, because our brains are so tired from just over functioning that we can't even think straight. Our memory has gone out the window, right? We can't formulate a sentence. We are just done and tapped out. Where am I taking responsibility for things that aren't mine? That was a big one for me, especially when it came to my kids, because I was constantly trying to solve all their problems. And now looking back, I see that that was a detriment to them, because it makes them feel it makes them hyper dependent on me instead of me knowing that they can figure things out on their own. It's a skill they're going to need when they're adults. They're going to need to fall and get back up. They're going to need to be able to figure things out on their own. So I had to stop taking responsibility for all of the things that they were going through because I didn't want to see them get hurt. They're my kids, right? I love them. But it was doing them more harm than it was doing them good. And you can't just simply think your way out of problems that were built through emotional experiences. And what do I mean by that? That could be anger, grief, resentment, fear, shame, disappointment. And those emotions always need somewhere to go, right? So this is the work that I do inside my Return to Self program, right? We're not trying to turn you into a more disciplined version of yourself, because like I said, we already know that you're disciplined. We know this already. We know this, right? We're looking at what's keeping you stuck in survival mode so that you can develop a better relationship with yourself. Listen, and I've watched women come into this work feeling like they need more discipline, right? And it's amazing to watch because these are women that are go-getters, they're overachievers, they're perfectionists, they're the go-to person in their families. And when they come out of this program, they come out understanding that all this time they didn't need to do more to get out of survival mode. They didn't need to do more. What they needed to do was less. And that's what's so hard for this type of woman to do, is to slow down, to stop doing the most, to stop being there for everyone, to stop abandoning herself, to stop showing up for everyone and anyone. Because, like I said, you don't have a discipline problem because you've proven that time and time again that you're highly disciplined when it comes to showing up for everyone else and being there for everyone else. But when it comes to you, you abandon yourself. There's always an excuse as to why you can't do X, Y, and Z, why you can't rest, why you can't cancel something, why you can't say no, why you can't let people make their own mistakes, why you have to pick up every phone call, answer every single text message, why it has to be you to raise her hand and volunteer to do something. You're great at that, right? And it's a beautiful transformation to watch because they go from not being able to rest to now making time in their schedule to actually rest, making time in their schedule to do the things that they love, saying no with their full chest and not feeling guilty about it, not having it ruminate through their mind for the entire day of this guilt of like, I told this person I was going to show up for them, I told them yes, and now I'm going back on my word. Oh my god, they're going to hate me. Oh my gosh, I don't break my word is my bond. Like, all the things. But when we go through this work together, you finally see that it's okay to rest. You see that it's the amazement that you feel when you wake up energized, ready to take on your day instead of dreadful of like, oh God, I have this to do, I have that to do, I'm so tired. Like, oh gosh, I wish I could call out of work. I just want to sleep all day. No, instead you have all this energy. You have all this capacity to do the things that bring you joy and the things that you love. You're no longer in a bad mood because you can actually sleep now, right? Somebody can be disappointed in you and you're going to be okay. It's not going to be the end of the world for you, right? You can ask for help and not feel guilty about it and not feel like you're not capable of doing something because you're asking for help. No, and instead you start reframing things of like, no, I don't have to take on the world myself. I can ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. It doesn't show or it doesn't make me weak. actually makes me stronger because now I have more capacity to do something else, right? Imagine knowing your limits before your body starts screaming at you with all these physical symptoms of the headaches, the migraines, the pain, the exhaustion, the brain fog, the forgetfulness, the memory issues, the crankiness, the irritability. Imagine being able to pause before that even happens because you're now so hyper aware. And not only just hyper aware, you've integrated this into your life of like, I'm not even going to allow for my body to give me a single signal that I'm tired. I already know that if I do that, I'm going to be tapped out because my body, I'm already reaching that capacity level. So I know if I add another thing onto my list for the day, I'm gonna be laid out on the floor. I'm gonna be done. So imagine you being the gauge of like, I've had enough of the day. Instead of waiting for your body to start screaming at you with all these symptoms of exhaustion, of burnout, of pain, of uneasiness, of migraines, of headaches, and whatever other types of flares you get based on your autoimmune issue. So I wanted to mention that applications are now open for my Return to Self program. You can find them in the link. And this is for the women living in burnout, in chronic pain, and chronic fatigue, or experiencing any type of autoimmune illness. And you've tried all the usual things, right? But you're still stuck in survival mode. You're still exhausted. You're still burnt out. Your capacity is at a negative, right? I want to invite you to take the next step and to schedule a next step call. We'll talk about what's actually happening for you, where you're feeling stuck, what you've already tried, and whether this work is right for you. And then I'll walk you through what working together would look like. Right? Listen, you don't have to decide today, you just have to be willing to have a conversation. Because this shouldn't be how we live life, hanging on by a thread, exhausted, at a negative capacity, and just continuing to abandon ourselves while we continue to show up for everyone and anyone. Like, we deserve better. This is why we're feeling so unhealthy as a collective, because we are just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and some of us are just like, we can't anymore. And this is not the way life is supposed to be. You're supposed to enjoy life. You're supposed to have energy to do the things that you love. You're supposed to be okay resting. You're supposed to feel okay if you turn down a commitment, if you take something off your schedule, if you ask for help. You shouldn't feel bad about things like that. Men do it all the time. And it's why women are the ones who, for the most part, are dealing with burnout. We're dealing with chronic pain. We're dealing with autoimmune illnesses. It's mostly us women, because we are the caretakers. We are the caregivers. We are the nurturers. We are the super women. We are the problem solvers, the fixers, the go-to person, the eldest daughters. This is us. And we're taking on too much, and our bodies are saying no. Our bodies are saying no through these physical symptoms, through these illnesses, through the burnout, through the chronic fatigue, through the autoimmune issues. There's so many women that I've seen lately come down with diagnoses for autoimmune illnesses. And it's a lot of it is caused by stress, because we're taking on the world and we're doing too much. And our bodies are fighting back by saying no. We cannot continue to take on the world. It's not happening anymore. And listen, I know that at the moment it feels like your body's turning on you. You don't recognize yourself. but your body's actually trying to save you by giving you these symptoms that you're feeling, because it's trying to give you a wake-up call of saying you need to stop, you need to reverse whatever path you're going down, you need to back up and reverse, and you need to pivot, because this is not the road. Like one of my most recent clients that I worked with, she was an avid gym person, will go to the gym 5-6 times a week, dealing with chronic fatigue, PCOS, inflammation, headaches, couldn't sleep. She had a lot of rage issues, and finally got her to slow down and say, listen, I want you to not go to the gym. I want you to sleep in. I want you to sleep in. She's like, but the gym makes me feel good. I understand that, but right now your nervous system is on overload. Your cortisol levels are through the roof. There's no way that you're gonna come out of this burnout, the PCOS symptoms, the rage, the anger, if your body is on high alert and you're pushing through constantly. There's no way. So although this is gonna feel hella uncomfortable for you to slow down and stop, because she was such a go-getter, she's like, no, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, the kids this, the husband that, 4 kids, married, like the whole shebang. Got her to finally stop going to the gym. And she said for the first time she slept through the night. Our bodies are amazing at telling us what is wrong. All of a sudden, the pain that she was having from her PCOS, gone, through the work that we were doing together, through actually tapping into her emotions, to the root of her rage and her resentment and her sadness and her grief, and finally releasing that from the body, therefore giving her more room to invite joy into her life and to invite softness into her life. No more anger outbursts, the inflammation gone. And this is the kind of work that we do in Return to Self. Trust me, I lived it myself through my chronic pain story. If you want to watch that, I'll link it here too. It's the way that our bodies communicate to us. Okay, so I want to leave you with that. Also, before I go, I wanted to just let you know that the Return to Self workbook is now available. I'm going to leave that link as well. I'm so proud of this baby. It's an unfiltered journey back to yourself, and it is filled with 64 prompts. It helps you work through resistance. It helps you work through setting boundaries, your anger, your resentment, your feelings of unworthiness. And it's not just a journal filled with prompts. This is actually a workbook that's going to help you get out of survival mode and into thriving and into living a soft life. So I'm going to leave that link there as well too. Or you can find it in my link in bio as well, or on my website, julieajameson.com. And I will see you on Friday for our next live. So until next time, bye.